Good evening. It's Pastor Rago here. I have a bit of a red nose and red cheeks. My family boys we were playing outside, playing some basketball on the driveway just a few minutes ago. My fingers are still cold. Kind of having our own little NCAA tournament tonight. And so we're having some fun outside since it's supposed to be the start of the tournament today, but missing out. Some of you sports fans kind of feel the same way, where it's just not quite the same having this Thursday in March, this weekend in March, and there's not basketball to watch. I'm sure if you go to like ESPN Classic or something, you can find old games, or I don't know, maybe CBS is playing last year's tournament tonight. I'm not sure. We decided, start our own. Michigan State, of course, was playing, us being State fans in this family, and they're beating up on Davidson by about 15 when I left the court. So it was a good night. We're having some fun out there. The boys were enjoying it outside. And so we're having this fun family time. It was nice to hang out with the boys today a little bit because I had to tell them last night that my grandpa died. So thank you for your thoughts and prayers that you sent over yesterday after the devotion last night. And my all of his kids were able to be around him last night, so that was really great. And they're able to say goodbye to their dad and know that he is resting in Jesus. And that's what we're thankful for tonight too in my family, and that's how we've talked about it with the boys too. And they're kind of contemplating or wrestling with we won't see great grandpa again, and then they're saying no, we'll get to see him in the resurrection when we all are rising from the dead. And it's cool to see your kids start to get that too and understand that reality, that because of death isn't, because of Jesus' death and resurrection, death isn't final or the final thing for us. And so that's our joy. We don't, as a family, really get to have a funeral or memorial service right now. And so we're trying to figure all that out. What is that going to look like? When is that going to happen? That's kind of a reality of what's going on in social distancing and staying apart and not bringing, people from different parts of the country together to remember my grandpa. So we're trying to find different ways that we can do that as a family still in the meantime. One of the things that has been going through my mind is the line from Psalm 31. This is part of the Service of Compline. It's an old service that was in the regular rotation of services of the day. If you were to wake up in the morning and have matins, and then at noontime have the office of sext at noon, and the office of known at 9. These comes up from Latin, and then later in the evening is the evening of the service of Compline, and there's it's a nice evening service to sit and sing once in a while, and there's a repeated. Let me make a long story short, but not. There's a repeated line there, which you sing after you do the Bible readings in that. And it is, into your hands I commend my spirit. You sing Psalm 31, verse 5. It goes, into your hands, O Lord, I commend my spirit. And that's been kind of a refrain for me today, just thinking about my grandfather and him commending his spirit to the Lord as that's his last plea and cry that God would bring him into his presence. I'm going to read a little bit more of Psalm 31, so I'll start at the beginning. Psalm 31, verse 1. In you, O Lord, do I take refuge. Let me never be put to shame. In your righteousness, deliver me. Incline your ear to me. Rescue me speedily. be a rock of refuge for me, a strong fortress to save me. Such great imagery there of God coming to hear us when we're distressed, that he would listen to us, that he would be our refuge of something stable in the midst of upheavaled life. For you are my rock and my fortress, and for your name's sake you lead me and guide me. You take me out of the net that they have hidden for me, for you are my refuge. And then verse 5, into your hand I commit my spirit. You have redeemed me, O Lord, faithful God. Jesus said that on the cross. That was his words to his Father when he was there on the cross on his last day. He said, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit, quoting Psalm 31. And in a couple weeks we'll get there. We'll get to that moment on Good Friday, and we'll reflect on that then again. And it's, in a sense, a funeral text. It is a moment where Jesus is dying and delivering himself up to the Father. It makes me think of my grandfather and his spirit resting with Christ until the resurrection. And yet we know that because Jesus said it in the way that he delivered up his life for us, we also have Jesus's resurrection coming for us. And so we have Easter to be excited for as well. And so if you give me a little liberty, I like to sing some lines from I Know That My Redeemer Lives tonight, because for me that's one of my favorite proclamations of hope and assurance. In the midst of death, we have life in Christ. So let me sing a bit of I Know That My Redeemer Lives, and it's in the Lutheran Service Book Hymnal, if you want to know. It is number 461, and I'm going to sing some selected stanzas here. I know that my Redeemer lives. What comfort the sweet sentence gives. He lives, who once was dead. He lives, my ever-living head. He lives triumphant from the grave. He lives eternally to save. He lives all glorious in the sky. He lives exalted there on high. He lives to silence all my fears. He lives to wipe away my tears. He lives to calm my troubled heart. He lives all blessings to impart. He lives all glory to his name. He lives, my Jesus, still the same. Oh, the sweet joy this sentence gives. I know that my Redeemer lives. It's great to sing. It's great to hear that good news. I'm going to read the last verse of Psalm 31. Because at the end of talking about God being a refuge and strength and a help, and the one who hears us and whom when we go to bed at night, right? This is evening devotion tonight for you, and maybe you're not watching it live, but you're watching it a little later this evening, and you're getting ready to go to bed, and you can think about that phrase that we sometimes pray or sing, and in some worship at the end of the night. Into your hands I commend my spirit. And trusting our day to God and knowing that he's going to continue to watch over us, and even in our last hour will take us to be with him. And so the last verse of Psalm 31 reminds us to be strong Let your heart take courage, all you who wait for the Lord. And that's my comfort, is to be courageous and strong in the Lord. And I pray that it is yours as well, because we are waiting for the Lord to fulfill his promise of resurrection life. And so tonight, we can commend ourselves and our spirits to him. Have a blessed night, everybody.